What up, gang? Welcome back. We to Who You Got podcast. We are back as you see that the punishment has paid off. Oh my God, look at my man over there, Caleb. That thing has grown in really nice. And I just gotta say, it was worth it. This is the last time you're gonna see him with it, so enjoy it while it lasts. Looks beautiful, man. Looks good. I think it should be a regular thing for you.
It definitely won't be.
All right. Well, fam, let's get into it, man. We'll show up the screen with the recap of last week and show my disappointing and just horrible loss. All right, here it is. All right, and with that, you saw that I lost, and now it's time for the punishment. Kayla, go ahead and remind us what the punishment is going to be.
So as I said last week, the three players on our fantasy teams were to be untouchable, the top three picks.
Right.
But other than that, it's a free game. The loser has to drop a player of the winner's choosing.
Yep.
So I get to pick which player you drop from your fantasy team this week.
Of course. And here is my team. The three players that are off limit is going to be Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, and Deebo Samuels. Those were my first three picks. And then everybody else is up to getting cut. I'm sorry, team. It wasn't my fault. I thought that I was going to win this. The Browns royally screwed up. And that's all I got to say about that. So let's go ahead and get into it, brother. Who are we dropping? Here's my full roster.
It's tough because I don't want to help the league too much.
I understand. But you gotta let somebody go.
I'm between Raheem Mostert and George Kittle.
Both
I know
solid
your
drops.
connection to Kittle is a little personal.
I might cry.
Which makes it feel so much better.
Don't do that.
You got Austin Eckler though, so Raheem Mostert doesn't hurt you that much.
No, not really.
Drop him. I'm gonna go George Pickens.
Oh, okay. That's a good drop, man. All right, here it is. Moving them, and I can't place him anywhere. I'll place him,
and then
I'll place him there for a second, and then do this, and then there's that dreaded drop button.
The big red button right there.
Make sure it's the right person. All right, George Pickens. Goodbye.
That's tough.
You telling me now? I got to find a receiver. Adam Thielen just not going to cut it.
I looked at your bench real quick and I saw that you didn't really have a good option there.
I don't. I'll have to look at the wire and see who I can pick up for this game, for the future games. But there's the punishment, fellas. There's the gut wrenching punishment to my team. Although, look, my team's not doing that well anyway. I should have won last week, but there were some things.
Yeah, you put up enough points to get a win in most leagues. So
yeah, as you see, it was a close game again. I made a few miscalculations. I didn't start Raheem Mostert, and then I didn't start Hunter Henry either. So, and they both went off last week, which gave me that their loss. But anyway, let's go ahead. Oh, go ahead. What?
I lost because I didn't start Swift. So,
man, Swift went off, bro. I was surprised. I tried to go for him in my Yahoo league, but somebody picked him up before me. So that was a gut punch too, as well. But
Kareem Hunt just signed with the Browns.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that because of Nick Chubb's injury and stuff. And I mean, I think Ford will still take the lead there. I think he's going to do good. I don't know how much Kareem Hunt has been, keeping up with his physical elements and things like that. I don't know if he's going to be right into the scheme. I mean, he was with the Browns before he got, before he was free agency and stuff. So he should fit in pretty well. Yeah. And I think he'll play, not this week, but I mean, maybe like 10 snaps this week, but I think next week it might be a bigger factor.
Of course, yeah.
But yes, well, there's a punishment. Who you got, Gain? Let's go ahead and hit up with these picks. We're gonna go straight into it today. We're gonna go straight to the picks today. So let's get started with week 3 picks with our first game, which is going to be a primetime game on Thursday. My game, of course, the Giants versus the Niners. Who you got, my man?
That's an easy Niners for me. They
I
had a
agree.
relatively closer game than their first week,
Yeah.
but the Giants still made it a 3-point win, comeback win at that against the Arizona Cardinals. So
Right. It was the Cardinals, right? But hey, they did play well. I saw some good spots for Daniel Jones in the second half of that game, and I think that they're getting to where they want to be. Are they still going to be that team that we thought they were going to be, who's going to be in competition with the Cowboys and Eagles? No, I don't think so anymore. But they did show some bright spots. But again, like you said, I think it's an easy pick. I think the Niners defense is just too good for the Giants, and we'll take that game easy. All right. Second game, we got the Colts and the Ravens. Who you got?
I'm gonna say Ravens. I really want to say Indy because I really like how Anthony Richardson has been playing. But because he is in concussion protocol,
Right.
he's most likely not going to play. So I'm gonna take Baltimore just because of that.
Mm. I agree with you. But I also think that even if Richardson is playing in this game, I don't think that they pull out the upset victory against the Ravens. I think their Ravens are finding out who they are now. They played a lot better last game. But I do take the Ravens as well. But it would be an interesting game with Richardson in. Next game, we got the Titans and the Browns. Who you got?
I just don't think that this is going to be a good game. As far as it's going to be sloppy. I don't think it's going to be a game that's taken care of. I think he's going to come out on top. The Browns without Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson is so iffy right now. I know the Titans are the same way, but I think it's just going to be kind of an upset for Tennessee to win.
Okay. So you got the Titans?
I do.
All right. Here's our first difference maker right here. I have the
Yep.
Browns. Again, I know they let me down last week, but
Yeah.
I'm a ride with them again. Pause. But the reason why is because their defense is still pretty well, or is still playing pretty well. They got Myles Garrett in there who's knocking down sacks, man, left and right. And I think they're going to bring pressure against Tannehill, and I just don't foresee him throwing better than what he's been throwing anyway. Yeah, they got Derrick Henry to worry about, but I think the Browns defense stand up and give it more time for Deshaun Watson and Ford now to be better in this game. I think they take it. I don't know. It's one of those things. I think it'll be close. Probably like last week with the Steelers. I think it'll be close, but I think they actually finish out the game and take this one. Maybe, hopefully, we'll see. All right, next game we got the unbeaten Falcons versus the Lions. Who you got?
Falcons are going to be beaten. The Falcons haven't had a good matchup these last 2 weeks as far as like opponents. I don't think that they've faced adversity yet, and I think the Lions are going to give them that and give them their first loss.
What about when they played the Packers? That was a good game.
The Packers also played the Bears week 1, and the Bears looked like garbage.
Yeah.
So the Packers, Jordan Love looks all right, but they're still not an elite team. They're still figuring things out. So I think the Falcons are right there with them, and I think the Lions have figured it out for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I agree. I think the Lions take this. I think the Lions suffered an unfortunate loss last week to the Seahawks. That upset me too. It was overtime. We knew it was good. Yeah, you did. We knew it was going to be a shootout. Everyone knew that, but especially that last play in OT, the Seahawks kind of got away with something. But hey, it is what it is. It's football, baby. But I do think the Lions take this. I think they're the better team. I think they'll come out and outscore the Falcons and win that game ultimately. Probably a fourth quarter win, though. I say that. Next game, we got the Saints and the Packers. Who you got?
This is going to be a tough one. I'm going to go Green Bay just
Mm,
because I, I think that the Saints don't have a they haven't had a really good passing attack yet. Rashid Shaheed has had yards, but they haven't really had much to come from it. I think Derek Carr's thrown one or two touchdowns all year.
thought so.
So yeah, so the Saints running game has to carry a lot of the workload, and Jamal Williams just got hurt. They
Right.
still don't have Alvin Kamara. I think the Packers are just gonna have more tools to win this game.
Okay. All right. I agree with you in the sense that yeah, the Saints will not have any really good running backs. You know, they got probably Taysom Hill who's going to have to probably take some of the snaps there. They might have Miller back depending on his hamstring injury. Yeah, like Williams is out. They don't have Alvin Kamara. Their running game situation is going to be trash at this moment. So I think the Packers do take this. We're in agreement there. Uh, Packers going to have a better team overall that week. Uh, so I think the Packers take it, but I don't think by like a large margin. I think this is going to be another close game. I'm pretty sure that they got. I think the Packers are underdogs in this one, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look at it again, but I think they take it by maybe like a score. So it's going to
Yeah,
come down to the wire, though. Next game we got the Jags and the Texans. Who you got?
I don't think I'm ever gonna pick the Texans to win a game, so, unless they're playing the Cardinals. So I'm gonna
I I gotta agree. I don't see the Texans winning anything right now. I mean, their team just does not look well put together. CJ Stroud looks like a scared quarterback every time that you like see him playing and they zoom in on his face. It's just ridiculous. But Jags is just too much of a good team to lose against the Texans. I think they blow them out of the water on this one. I take the Jags as well. Next game we got the Broncos and the Dolphins. That's gonna be an interesting game. Broncos and the Dolphins. Who you got?
I don't want to say Miami because I I don't think Miami will keep it up, but I also don't think that Denver is going to be the team to tear them down. So I think Miami will start the season 3-0.
Okay, I agree. I think the Dolphins are going to take this one. I think the Broncos do have a nice defense. You know, their cornerbacks and their secondary are really nice. However, I just don't think they're going to compete with. And I keep saying this: Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. There's too many options there. You know, too much speed. They're not going to be able to catch up with them. And then they got Mostert, who's just now starting to find his rhythm into the offense. Um, I just don't see the Broncos being able to beat the Dolphins here. I do disagree. I think the Dolphins will keep it up. I think the Dolphins are a pretty good team. Um, I just don't. I don't think they'll take a loss to the Broncos. They might take a loss here shortly, though. I foresee it happening. Um, but yeah, next team we got, or next matchup we got is the Chargers. Excuse me, Chargers and the Vikings. Who you got?
This is, I think, the game of the week. Um, I think it determines the rest of the season for both teams, and it's crazy because if the Vikings lose, then I think they start to look at giving up for the season. If
Mm,
the Chargers lose, I don't think that they're in the same boat. I think they still have a chance to recoup. Uh, but I think the Chargers will win this game. Their offense has looked stellar through the first 2 weeks. Their defense has looked so poor,
yeah,
but the Vikings have looked basically the same way. Uh, so both sides of the coin, you have very similar teams.
yeah.
I think the Chargers will come out on top just because I think the Vikings don't have it in them this year.
Okay, okay. So you're saying the Vikings just doesn't have it this year at all? You
Yeah.
don't think they're gonna do what we thought they were gonna do at the beginning of the
No, I
season?
don't. I don't think that they're going to be a playoff team at this point. So
Okay, okay. I disagree. I think the Vikings will be there towards the end. I don't think them starting 0-3. By the way, I do have the Chargers winning. I don't think that the Vikings starting 0-3 is going to derail them as much. Yes, they have a really tough conference and division, but I can see them still winning enough games to make a contingency for the playoffs, at least like for that sixth spot, you know. But I do think they lose this game. I think the Chargers have too much firepower. Uh, I think that Herbert figures it out. It's going to be a high scoring game. It's going to be a shootout. I know that. But so fantasy wise, this is going to be a great game for anybody that's got fantasy people on this. But I think it goes that way. Austin Eckler, if he is playing this week, I know he's questionable, but if he is playing this week, it's an easy dub for them.
Yeah.
But since he's questionable and might not be playing, I think it could go both ways. I see the Vikings winning this one, but I do pick the Chargers because I just think that they have a better team.
I'm with you there.
All right, now we got your game, the Patriots versus the Jets. Who you got?
Maybe I'm finally picking my team to win this week.
Oh snap!
I went against them the first 2 weeks.
Yeah,
paid off, but I think that the Jets, without Aaron Rodgers, we saw they don't have an offense. Granted, they did play the best defense in the league last week in the Cowboys.
Yeah. Didn't look too bad. I mean, they got 10 points. It's better than the Giants.
Yeah, I don't think you compare any team to what the Giants did week 1.
All right.
But we see that the Pats can hang in there in games. We were 1 score down from Miami with the ball again late in the game, just didn't get it done. But I think that with the Jets not being the powerhouse offense that they were supposed to have, I think that we aren't falling behind in the second half to come back.
Okay. All right. Well, this was a tough pick, and I got to disagree. I think the Jets will take this. And it's a shocker because if you look at the history, the Jets have lost 14 straight games to the Patriots, man. And it's hard to pick them, but especially with Zach Wilson at the helm. But I think that the Jets will win this one by a small margin. I think they surprise us, and I don't know, man. I just think Wilson and we'll get it done. I don't know why I think it. I don't know what's making me pick these guys, but
4-13. That's why.
Yeah, it's got to happen, right? It's got to happen one time. 14 straight losses. The 15th one's got to be it. It's got to be it. So,
like Kirk Cousins finally winning in primetime, right?
Yeah, it's got to happen, right? So I'm taking my bets on this one, man, and I'm gonna disagree, and I'm gonna go with the Jets. All right, next matchup we got the Bills and the Commanders. Who you got?
Well, Washington has looked good.
Yeah,
I will give, like, all around, their defense and offense have both been playing pretty well. Brian Robertson's been a stellar offensive tool for them, but they're the Bills. The Commanders are a competitive team. I think it'll be a decent game to watch, but it won't be enough for the Bills. The Bills are just a better team.
I agree. The Bills are a better team. They have a better defense than any of the Commanders, any team that the Commanders have played. But like you said, the Commanders have looked really good, and I am impressed on how they're playing. I would like to see them win this game, but I can't pick them yet. I think they take their first loss here. I think the Bills win this one. So the next matchup, we got the Panthers and the Seahawks. Who you got?
Seattle. Panthers don't have much going on there, and Seattle, obviously, they beat Detroit last week, so I think the Seahawks are just better put together as a team.
Yeah. I would love to see the Seahawks lose right now because I don't like the Seahawks, but I have to pick them. The Panthers just aren't that good, man. I don't see it happening. Maybe midway through the season I'll pick the Panthers again, but yeah, I picked the Seahawks to win this one. They're just a better team. Next matchup we got the Cowboys against the Cardinals. Who you got?
Oh, this is a tough one. Do I even watch this bloodbath this week? I don't know.
I mean,
Josh Dobbs has looked decent for one half of each game. So maybe he'll put together a decent half and make it an enjoyable game to watch. But that's the best case scenario is a half of good football that makes it enjoyable to watch. I think the Cowboys just easily take that.
All right. Yeah, talent-wise, he looks decent. Looks-wise, that dude looks scary. He needs to grow some hair or something, like put a hairpiece on. I don't know. That man looks ugly as hell. No, I think the Cowboys take this pretty easily. There's nothing much to say on it. The Cardinals are just that bad, and I don't foresee them winning against a good team like that unless they royally mess up. But Yeah, Cowboys for that one. All right, next game we got the Chiefs and the Bears. You gonna put the eggs in the basket on this one or what?
The basket is in the garbage. I am not picking the Bears the rest of the season. They have let me down. I thought they were gonna flip it around, but nope, they are still the fucking Chicago Bears. Pardon my language.
It's all
But
good.
I'm going Kansas City there.
Yeah, man, I agree. Kansas City wins this one pretty easily. There's not much to say there. The Bears just don't show any signs of being a really good team. So I think the Chiefs take this one. Especially at Arrowhead too. Yeah, nah, she's got that one. All right, we got the next matchup. I think this is going to be a Sunday. No, it's not the Sunday night game, right? Yeah, this is a Sunday night game. We got the Steelers and the Raiders. Who you got?
I am not picking the Steelers 2 weeks in a row. They
Okay.
saved me last week, but that was their defense. Their defense scored 2 touchdowns, and their offense kicked 4 field goals. That's the only reason they won the game,
Yeah.
or 3 field. I don't even know, but I think the Las Vegas Raiders will win this over the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers defense is going to put up the same amount of points they did last week. So
Okay. Okay. I agree with you, but I gotta take the Steelers on this one. I gotta take the Steelers on this one because the defense is still pretty good. You know, I think the defense is going to give the Raiders trouble. I think that's where the Raiders have been struggling so far. Jimmy G is a good quarterback. Josh Jacobs is a great running back, but when they hit like defenses that are even mediocre, as in like week one when they faced the Broncos, they didn't put up as much points. They still struggle, and but I think the Steelers have a better defense than that, and I think they'll give them troubles. I think Kenny Pickett needs to work on some of his reads because he missed a bunch of passes last week, a bunch that kept that game close. But I think the Steelers would take the win on this one. It's going to be rugged. It's going to be a pretty bad game, probably low scoring. But I think the Steelers squeak out a win against these guys. So that's another one that we disagree on. For our two Monday night games again this week, we got the Eagles and the Bucks, two undefeated teams, which is probably going to be a pretty good game. But who you got on this one?
uh, I don't know. I don't know what part of me wants to say Tampa Bay
You think it's
because
time?
it's Baker Mayfield time, but it's 2 weeks. I don't think I've seen enough of Baker to put
Yeah.
my eggs in. I can't swap from the Bears to the Buccaneers. Like I don't. What have I learned, right? So I'm gonna just stick strong with the Philadelphia Eagles
Okay.
and stay there.
All right. All right. So I have to agree, man. I think there's nothing that can tell me, especially going against a team like this, there's nothing that can tell me that the Bucks are going to win this one. I think it's going to be a great game. Baker Mayfield is playing really well at a high level, and I mean, I gotta apologize to the Buck fans because I took a massive dump on them early in the season. I was like, ah man, they suck. They're not going to get past this and that and third, and here they are, 2-0, looking really good. But I just gotta say, against an elite team like the Eagles, man, I can't see them continuing that success. I think the Eagles win this one by a low margin. I don't think it's going to be a blowout game. Um, I think if Baker Mayfield continues to find Mike Evans like he has been, then it's going to be a pretty close game. But I think the Eagles defense will shut that down, so he'll have to pass a little bit more to other receivers, and I think that's going to give him troubles. So I take the Eagles as well on this Monday night, and then let's move on to the next game. We got the Rams and the Bengals. Who you got?
I hate saying Cincinnati. I don't know why I hate saying Cincinnati. They've disappointed me twice this year.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, it's a gimme win. It hasn't been. So
Yeah.
I don't know. The Rams have been playing. Matthew Stafford's been playing like he was 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking a lot better. The Rams are looking better.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bengals realistically should be one of the top dogs in the NFL. And it's angering me that they are 0-2 right now. So I'm forced to believe that they're going to turn around at some point. Hopefully it's week 3. So I'm going to put my eggs in this basket and go
Uh-oh.
Cincinnati.
All right. All right. All right. I understand frustrations, man. I really do. I picked the Bengals as well, just with like what you did twice in a row. I do think they get better. I don't think it's week 3. I'm taking the Rams, and I'll tell you why I'm taking the Rams in this game. And this is a prime time. It's worth 2 points. This is the one that we disagree on, but I'll tell you why. When the Rams played the Niners last week, which was a really good game, by the way, and yeah, you could say that it's because NFC West games are always kind of like this. They figure each other out a lot quicker than other teams would, and they're always harder when they play each other. But they look really well put together, and it's just they played against a really stout defense in the Niners. But Aaron Donald is still that dude, and I think they're going to get ahead of the curve here and pressure Joe Burrow, even if he plays. We don't even know if he's going to play yet, right? Because he's still got suffering from this calf injury, and they're also trying to blame it on why he misperformed in the last 2 games as well. But I don't think it was that. But whatever.
I think that's what they are doing right now.
Yeah.
Oh, this is why the team's performing not great, is because he's not
He's
healthy.
he's not 100%, which I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. We could say that, but I don't believe in that. I think their O line is just trash right now, and I think that they're not clicking right, and I think they'll figure it out a little bit later, probably week 4, maybe week 5. But I think they do need to give Joe Burrow a rest if that is the case with the calf injury. Give him a rest this week or maybe even 2 weeks. But if they don't have Joe Burrow in this game, it's an easy loss for them.
Yeah, which why I hate to say Cincinnati, because if he does not play, I don't think Cincinnati. But
we got to go. Yeah, we got to go. What we got now. We're based off now.
Right now, and I'm just gonna hope that he plays and hope that Cincinnati Bengals can take this win.
I feel you on that. So, but yeah, I take the Rams in this one. You take the Bengals. That's the difference right there. And let's throw these picks up on the screen and show you guys what we got. All right, so now that we've thrown up what our picks are going to be for this week, we got to talk about the punishment. All right. And this week is my time to choose what the punishment is. And here we go. This is what we got for you. All right. The loser has to, as you see, my lovely little green screen or background that's really not working that well. But you see as lovely as San Francisco, of course, because I'm a San Francisco 49ers fan. But if the person that loses this week, they have to take their background and they have to set it as the team that they dislike the most. So I'm guessing that would be the Dolphins for you, more than likely.
No, I don't really dislike them though. I'd have to figure that out. I'd have to really sit down and.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get a team for you, and we're gonna put it as a background. And also, when that happens, they have to stay for the whole show. And then the biggest punishment for the next show is you have to take a banana and eat it as fast as you can on the show. All right. So those are the punishments. We'll go ahead and go with that. All right, because you know what my team is. I have to put the Seahawks, the dirty little Seahawks, back here, and I don't want to do that. So we'll see how this works out. But stay tuned for next week, and hopefully I don't lose, and hopefully we see Caleb over here trying to eat a banana as fast as he can. But with that, let's go on to the next segment that we have. We're calling it the defeated and the undefeated. So let's go ahead and pull up the undefeated team. Boom. So right here, we got the stats for each team so far. And I know it's a little early into the season in the league, but we're going to talk about it. All right. So let's go for the AFC East first. We got the Miami Dolphins, who are 2-0. Is that a surprise, or is that maybe something that's typical that could have happened? Keep in mind on who they played in the past 2 games, right? So let's look at this and see if it's a surprise to you. The Dolphins, 2-0. Surprise or not?
It is and it isn't. Miami is a good team with Tua. We saw that last year.
Yep.
So I think they lost a lot of credit when Tua went down, and their value went down as a team as far as win shares. So I don't think that it's a surprise that we're seeing Miami be successful. But I think that they will be successful this week. I think they will go 3-0. They will still stay undefeated. So
All right, all right. I gotta agree with you. I don't think it's a total surprise. I think them beating the Chargers week one was a good surprise.
Yeah.
Because I think most of us had, well, not me because I did pick them, but I think most of us had them losing against the Chargers because we thought the Chargers were going to come out as a better team than what they're showing so far and take over and dominate. But I agree with you. I don't think it's a complete surprise. I think that they're playing really well. Tua hasn't shown any signs of weakness, and hopefully he stays healthy for the whole season. I think that was the biggest thing last season. Um, but yeah, I have to agree with you. It's not that much of a surprise. Patriots will come right back to you. For the AFC North, we have the Baltimore Ravens, who are undefeated, 2-0. Surprise or not?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, it's still early. Two wins in a row is not like uncommon for the Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
But I just don't think of them as an undefeated team. So
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
I do have them losing this week. No, I don't. No,
No,
I don't.
you
I
got
did if Anthony Richardson played, but
right.
I don't think he will.
Yeah,
Baltimore, I think will stay undefeated this week too. So
yeah. Well, I mean, and that's basically that's based upon like who they're playing. You know what I'm saying? Like they're playing the Colts this week. Could go either way,
yeah,
but I do think it's an easier game for them right now. And I mean, their first two games, this last week was a toss up. You know, with the Bengals. If the Bengals were playing right, I think they wouldn't be 2-0. I think they would be 1-1. But I mean, that's another surprise that we're going to talk about later. But I don't think it's too much of a surprise. The Ravens are a good team, you know, and when healthy, and when Lamar Jackson is throwing right, you know, they could be a top tier team. So I don't think it's too much of a surprise, but it is nice to see them undefeated. And I think they go 3-0 as well, obviously, from our picks that we just made. No undefeated teams in the South, no undefeated teams in the West. Let's go with the NFC East. Three undefeated teams, actually. And I'll let you know right now, that's already a surprise. So let's talk about these three teams here. Who is the biggest surprise that is undefeated?
Washington for sure. Yeah.
I think we're about to be the same. Yeah, Washington. I agree. Why are they so surprised?
I think that they were supposed to be well in last place in their division. The Giants, I think, were supposed to be kind of a lingering playoff team this year, and the Commanders were probably lower in the conference as far as rankings. But what we're seeing right now is I think the Commanders and Giants kind of swapped roles in their division. As far as Commanders look like they could be a play-in playoff team right now, and the Giants look like they are hanging on for dear life. So
yeah, it does look like that. I will agree with you. I think the Commanders is a surprise. They are a good team. I'm not going to take that away from any Commanders fans or any of the or anything about that team. They are a good team. I think that their two games were pretty easy. They played the Cardinals and the Broncos, which was a toss up again. But if you look at how they played, especially like the Cardinals game, right? They came back from a big deficit. If they continue to, huh?
It was a one-score game.
Yeah, exactly. And if they continue to play like that, I don't think their streak will last that long. And obviously, we got them losing this week, so I don't think any one of us picked it. But I don't think they stay undefeated for long. These two teams, however, on the top, I think they stay undefeated for a good minute. I think the Cowboys face the Niners week 5, which is going to be a really good game to see where each team is actually at. I think the polls have the Niners at number 1 and the Cowboys at number 2. So we shall see. We shall see. Let's see.
You also got to look at that net point difference for the Cowboys: 70 points for and 10 points allowed.
Oh, okay.
60 point difference is insane over 2 games.
True, but I mean, again, they played the Giants the first game, and then
the Jets, who
a beat up Jets that didn't have Aaron Rodgers. You know, they had Zach Wilson trying to still figure it out.
But their defense still lit up 30.
Okay, I'll give you that to you. I mean, their defense is nice. I'll give you that to you. I get it to you. I'm still a Cowboys hater though, but you know, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not rooting for them to win the Super Bowl, but I hope they win my weeks for me. So
I feel you. I feel you. All right, so NFC South is the next place that we got some undefeated teams. 3 undefeated teams again. Actually, I'm surprised on all of them. Not even gonna lie. But so we got the Falcons,
1-1.
Yeah, we got the Falcons, Saints, and the Bucks. Right, all undefeated teams. What's your biggest surprise out of this league?
The biggest surprise is the Buccaneers.
You think the Bucks are the biggest surprise?
Yeah, I think the Falcons and the Saints, because of their division opponents, not because of their conference opponents, but because typically week 1 or week 2, you're playing a division opponent early in the season. So they're going to play against one of these guys early, which is what happened. So guaranteed a win for one of them. And I'm speaking for the Atlanta Falcons and the Saints. So I think that they were going to start off 1-0 and then finding a win in week 2. That's simple. But the Buccaneers to do that, that shows a lot for what Baker Mayfield is doing for the offense and how complete the team looks.
All right. I got to say the surprising undefeated team for me is the Falcons. I didn't think they would be this good, and let's keep it this way: they're not that good, but I didn't think they would play this well. You know, with Desmond Ridder at the helm, you know, and just getting his his feet wet. You know, and I think that they've been playing really well. They've had close games, I think, for each one of the weeks. I don't think they blew out a team in each week. But they had close games, especially the Packers game, which was very good. But yeah, but
Arthur Smith made some gutsy calls, though. I think, I don't think that they were good necessarily. I don't think the coaching strategy was like stellar, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah.
So whatever works for him.
Of course. I think we're both pretty safe with the Saints being 2-0, you know, at this point. I think we both at the beginning of the season, or at the beginning of the podcast, we both had the Saints winning their conference. But I don't think they're not that much surprise there. So let's go with the last one that we have here. Is the 49ers as the only undefeated team in the NFC West. Not a big surprise, I don't think. I think the first 2 games that we had were not like easy games, but they were easily determined that we were going to win those games based on what we knew. A lot of people picked the Steelers to beat us in their first week because they thought the Steelers were just ready for that. And I wholeheartedly disagree, obviously being a little bit biased because I am a Niners fan, but I think the Rams gave us a tough matchup. But in the end, no surprise that they're 2-0. How they're playing too as well. I think they stay undefeated for a little bit. I think once we hit week 4 and 5, we will start to figure out how good the Niners are and what they're able to do against tougher teams.
Yep, I agree.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and go on to the second half of this little segment. We got the defeated, the ones that look bad. Let's start with your team, the Patriots.
Now you say defeated and looking bad as like the Patriots played 2 of the best teams in the league to start their season. They have one of the toughest schedules this entire year. If Aaron Rodgers were to play this week, then we would be playing Philadelphia, Miami, and an Aaron Rodgers-led New York Jets to start off the year. You would easily say we're going 0-3 to start the year. And as a Pats fan, you can say that you're comfortable with that because I didn't expect to be better than any of these teams. But we are within 1 score every game with a chance to win it, with a chance to make it a game at the end. They give me some hope that they will figure it out and figure it out soon, that their offense just needs to come into the game a little bit sooner. And I have hope that they will turn it around.
So do you still feel confident about your in season results when we first said this? Like you said they were like 11.
I said 10-7.
10-7. Do you still feel comfortable with that?
No, I didn't feel comfortable with it at first. But it's optimistic. You know, I really was just like, let's go. we'll split one with the Bills. We'll split one with Miami. We'll, whatever. But
Mhm. I
I
mean,
have
it's still
it's
early.
we could go 10-5 and be a big surprise for the rest of the year, but we'll see.
Yeah. I agree. I think that I'm going to be more wrong than you are because I remember I put them at like 4-13. I think it was something really low. Um, but they are showing signs of a good team because they gave the Eagles on week 1 a run for their money, and they even gave Miami a good game too. So um, I think I might eat my words a little bit later on in the season about the Patriots being so bad, but we'll see. We'll see how that works out. All right. Now we got the team that everybody hates right now because they're
Yeah.
just taking a dump on everybody's expectations. The Bengals. 0-2.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Wow. Who knows? You have all this talent on one team. You just expect to be one of the best teams in the NFL, and you're 0-2 to start the year. Like what? Uh, I
Right.
don't I don't know.
I mean, their yardage per game is just out absurd, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I think they'll be 0-3 at the end of this week too against the Rams. It's just they can't get anything done on offense. They can't even keep teams. They can't even keep their offense on like defensive wise either. The defense is just not showing up as good as they should be, and then we all know the offense isn't even performing. With Joe Burrow and everything. So I don't know what's
With week
happening there.
one, with week one, you didn't see any offense from that team. The first half of week two, you saw no offense from that team, but there was some life in that second half. They found the end zone.
You're
They
right.
finally put a couple things together. So I'm thinking that could lead to development and earlier than we want it to be. So
Okay. All right. We're gonna have to stay tuned to find out about that team, man. I don't know. We'll see where that team goes. Because I think we both, if I'm not mistaken, both have them taking the top spot here in the North. But
yeah,
I don't know how it's looking right now. Houston Texans, that's a given. I think we all can agree that's just not going to go anywhere.
that's where they were going to start the year.
That's just all right. Biggest surprise here, I think, out of the AFC West is this team right here at the lowly bottom, Chargers 0-2. What's up with that?
Their defense, you can see it right there, is 63 points allowed.
Yeah.
I saw a statistic that it was era that a team has scored more than 50 points in the first two games with no turnovers and Justin Herbert having a QBR above like 95 or something like that, and to start the year 0-2. So it's not speaking poorly about their offense at all. It is 100% on their defense. They need to figure it out and keep their offense in games.
Right. No, I hear you. And then we got this team right here is the Broncos 0-2. I think they should be 1-1. Last week's game, they should have had it. They had a huge lead, but kind of blew it. So I don't know. The Broncos need to figure it out. I think Russell Wilson is playing decent. I think they can be a top contender in this here division if they tighten up a few things, because their defense is pretty good. Like I said before, their secondary is nice. So if they figure it out, they can be better than the Raiders, obviously. Chiefs,
Yep.
no, I think Chiefs still take this division. I don't think anything changes there. Conference, I mean, I don't know why I said division, but anyway. No, yeah, I was right, division. Let's go with no, there's no Owen. All right. Right here in the NFC North, we got the Minnesota Vikings, which I think is the biggest shock in the Chicago Bears. What do you think is going on here? I think you kind of spoke on it a little bit, but if you want to like reiterate or anything different that the Vikings should do in their upcoming weeks here.
Get Kirk Cousins some help. They're talking so poorly about this man, like the media does, but he's not the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive side of the ball is the problem. I think that Kirk Cousins has been fine. He has been under pressure more than he should be. The offensive line needs to do better at butting up. So it's just like nitpicky things that are just taking him out of games, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like you said, the defense is just not doing enough. Both of them were high scoring games. I think when they played the Bucks, it was like They scored 20 points on them, 20 to like 17. And then of course they played a hard team as in the Eagles last week, which outscored them 34-28, which was actually still a pretty close game. But I think the defense needs to make better stops and give their team a chance to get some of these wins, because both of those were one score games that they could have like came back and won those. So I don't think it's solely on the offense or Kirk Cousins. I mean, I think Madison is developing in his role. He's young, so I think he'll do well against certain teams. And once he develops, their offense will work even better. But I think, again, it's just that defense that needs to tighten it up a little bit. Bears, they're where they are. We'll leave them there. Panthers, I think it's not too much of a shock in their division here. I think they got a hard division to play against right now, because these three teams are standing out and they're being better than what anybody could have expected. I don't think Bryce Young is playing like trash, but he's not playing enough to be on that level with the other teams.
I think their entire team is not at that level.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's hard.
They're young, they're early, they just need to develop.
Yeah, and their schedule is not going to get any easier, I don't think, either.
No.
And then you got the Cardinals there, which we all expected they were going to be there.
We expected, but at this point of the year, I can wholeheartedly say I don't think that they are the worst team in the NFL. I think that they look better than the Bears for sure.
Yeah.
I'll put that dead last right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think they'll win one or two like later on in their season. I think they face a team that they have the potential to beat. And like you said before, Dobbs isn't looking half bad. I mean, it's just the Cardinals go against a lot of better teams, and I think they have the opportunity to win a couple games. Especially they play the Texans later on in the season, and they also play teams like the Bears. I think they play the Bears this season too. So like those could be wins for them, or close games, depending on how things shake out between that team. But I still think they'll be one of the worst teams, if not the worst. The Texans are in strong competition with that, so we'll see how that goes. With that ends that segment of defeated and the undefeated. We do have like 4 teams, I believe, that are undefeated that's going to go into week 4 defeated. I think we have the Saints who are going to lose, the Commanders who are going to lose. We have 2 other teams I have to look back on that we think are going to lose and be undefeated. We do think the Eagles are going to beat the Buccaneers, so the Buccaneers are going to be another team that takes a L. So we do have some teams that we think are not going to be undefeated come week 4, and we'll address those as well.
We also have some teams won't be seeded anymore too. As far as I think that New England is going to pick up their first win. The Chargers and the Vikings, one of them is bound to get a win unless there's a tie. So it's
got to happen. Yeah, it's got to happen. And we could be wrong in the fact that like some of these teams that we think are going to go 0-3 might pull out a win because they think that they're just done with it. Like i.e. you have the Bengals coming out with it. I don't foresee the Bengals winning, but there's one of the teams that you think that might not go 0-3. So
Cardinals upsetting the Cowboys. You heard it here first.
Okay.
That was not my pick. Don't change the graphic.
If they do upset, though, we'll play this back, and I'm like, oh, shit, he was right. But with that, man, we come to the end of the show of Who You Got podcast. It's been a great show. Man, I'm going to miss the handlebars next week. I'm so mad you got to shave them. I should have kept it longer.
I am so bad it was only 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. And then next week we'll also show what happens with my fantasy league team if I end up 0-3 because of this major drop that Caleb made me do, or if it's just I suck in fantasy and I'm not going to get any better. So we'll see how that shakes out. But we appreciate you guys for watching. Please, again, like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever you feel like doing. It's up to you. Text, I don't care. But we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you being fans and looking out for the show. Any last words, brother?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week so we can see that Seahawks background.
Oh, that's pretty presumptuous of you. All right. This is Who You Got podcast. We're out.